Welcome back to TV47 Weekend Edition, and now to this incredible piece that has been compiled by our own. Tonight, Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki says he is ready to find time to take his predecessor Rigathi Gachagua and obliterate what he described as Gachagua's petty and juvenile theatrics in the most spectacular and divisive manner. Kindiki, in a post on his social media, says Gachagua is naively mistaken. This is what Kindiki has now been up to in the recent past, facing Gachagua head-on in an attempt to take over the Mount Kenya regional leadership mantle. But how has the son of Tharaka Nithi performed in the last 235 days to date as Deputy President and the senior-most political member in the Mount Kenya region? Micah Gungu interrogates.
Mr. Deputy President Designate.
1st November 2024.
I,
Kithure Kindiki,
Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki was sworn in.
do swear
Becoming Kenya's third deputy president.
faithfully and truly give my counsel
The man who was at the helm of the country's security for 2 years of the Kenya Kwanza regime.
to the President of the Republic of Kenya.
Jovial by the side of his boss, ready to face the new challenge. The son of Tharaka Nithi was now the second in command.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I have almost become a lonely voice in the executive, especially in the presidency. I am confident that you will do that which I have missed for the last 2 years.
His swearing in at the foot of the KICC was after a court lifted orders barring his taking over from his predecessor Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua. This after he served as Tharaka Nithi senator for 2 terms, Senate Deputy Speaker and Senate Majority Leader.
You know, he speaks the language of Ruto. You can tell when he speaks, if you know Professor Kindiki, when he speaks, you can tell that that is not Professor Kindiki speaking.
And the president has said now he has a true principal assistant.
Sasa mimi mtu nimepigana na Al-Shabaab.
He has really helped in calming down the political temperatures.
Nimepigana na bandi. Nitashindwa na watu ya siasa hapa kidogo, watu kidogo hapa, watu kidogo.
His kind of politics and Gachagua's kind of politics is a bit different.
Mimi ni noma si noma.
Kithure Kindiki ako soba, anafanya siasa yenye anajua ni nini.
Mimi ni fire si fire. Mimi ni fire si fire.
He's simply a royal servant to his boss, and that's what he is.
He's able to bring people together, something that we really didn't have previously.
Wapi wanasema tuendelee namna hiyo, tuendelee.
Irrespective of the political divine that he represents, I am very, very, very disappointed. It's been a very, very, very dismal. And if I were to rate him on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll probably maybe just give him 2.
Kindiki's entry into politics was catalyzed by his involvement as a defense lawyer for current President William Ruto during his trial at The Hague for his alleged involvement in the 2007-2008 post-election violence skirmishes. He gained a load of plaudits for his role in the successful defense of William Ruto that provided the springboard into his entry into politics.
Kuna mtu alitafuta hii kazi kulishinda mimi? Tangu siku ile Uhuru na Ruto kabla washikane, mimi ndio nilikuwa natetea hao Hague. Sikuona watu ambao saa hii wanaongea. Simuliniona Hague. Nikijaribu kutoa uhuru witu.
It was on 15th August 2022 when Kindiki's top leadership qualities emerged after a commotion broke at Bomas of Kenya, following controversial verification of Form 34A and 34B.
Everybody silent.
Kindiki in a clip appeared to be reining in on the then Deputy President William Ruto's lieutenants at Bomas of Kenya amid tallying tension.
Saa 8 tutakuwa kwa laini. Ikifika saa 11 tuanze.
While Gachagua had been credited for campaigning for the Kenya Kwanza, many claim that Kindiki was trusted by President William Ruto, then a presidential candidate, to protect his votes by all means.
And you see, at that time, because I was in Bomas, what the other guys were trying to do is they wanted to create a situation where there would be chaos, so that in the chaos, in the melee, then they make sure that the election is not announced. And that's why I was saying, you guys, let them make noise, but let's be quiet. Let's not engage, because if we engage, then it's going to be chaotic, because the police will probably be forced to come in, our chairs will be thrown, and then things will go haywire.
He carves this image of a Kibaki, a person who is quiet, an intellectual, and so on.
When President William Ruto rose to power after the 2022 general election, he appointed Professor Kindiki as the Interior Cabinet Secretary, a strategic position by any feat. Prior to this, speculation was rife that Kindiki was the prime choice to be Ruto's running mate in the run-up to the 2022 elections. He was seen as the preferred choice by the majority of Mount Kenya leaders.
When we were in Karen, and we're trying to get a running mate for President William Ruto, everybody, I mean, I think of about 32 people were there, 27 people sided with Kindiki. They believed he was a better leader. I mean, it's the president vetoed everyone on that, and I'm sure he regrets. But everybody had said Kindiki is the man we want.
I present to you.
However, former DP Rigathi Gachagua got the nod.
Running mate candidate, my brother and friend, Rigathi Gachagua.
Perhaps this was the clearest sign that Kindiki will be the favorite to replace Gachagua.
I have been inspired by the philosophy that I would rather not score. I would rather not score for a team that is going to win, rather than to score for a team that is going to lose. For that reason, this philosophy has guided me to remain ruthlessly focused, resilient, and committed.
It was no secret that Kindiki's October 2024 appointment as the principal assistant to the president would be a different ballgame compared to his previous roles in the past. He clearly banked on his extensive experience in government to fill the shoes of the ousted Gachagua. In Ruto's government, Professor Kindiki was viewed as the best performing CS as per a poll conducted by Infotrack. He surely hoped that this will translate to the execution of his duties as deputy president.
I will try the best of my ability to work hard together with the other colleagues to lighten the burden that you carry on your shoulders, Your Excellency.
So we said the work of the deputy president would be to go checking how we are doing in these county charters that we made the people sign. Because we sat in every county headquarters and agreed these are the priorities for this.
Professor Kindiki, like all vice presidents or deputy presidents, arrives without his own agenda, and he must play up to already scripted text. So there isn't much that one expects to see out of him in the first 200 days.
The biggest problem I have with the Kindiki is the way he has allowed himself to be used by Ruto. And of course, again, I pity him because he's a good man.
The 52-year-old is trying to consolidate the mountain behind him. Known for his little combative politics, Kindiki is taking his predecessor, Rigathi Gachagua, heads on.
Kati ya mimi na Muti ya Mitego, nani anakaa kama rafiki ya Wakamba? Hao watu wapotee kabisa. Wakwende kabisa, waende wakiendanga.
Nilikuwa jana mazishi huko Rumuruti na chairman wa KRA anaitwa Derito Mureithi. Nikamuuliza, wewe chairman, wewe unatusukuma tulipe kodi na tunalipa. Na ni sawa, na tutaendelea kulipa kodi. lakini ile pesa yote imeokotwa kuliko ikuja hapa Kirinyaga imalize barabara. Hiyo pesa yote imesanywa kupitia National Intelligence Service, imepatiwa hii jamaa ya Soprano. Anatembea na ndege mbili, moja hako ndani, ingine imejaa pesa.
Kama wewe hutaki kusimama na wananchi ni sawa sawa. Wachia wale ambao wako tayari kusimama na wananchi, tusimama na wananchi.
Kwa tent kutoka asubuhi the whole day, alafu jioni wanapewa kila mtu shilingi 500. Ati ni empowerment.
Unatulecture ukiwa nani? Kwani wewe ni Mungu? Una lecture kila mtu, una lecture mwanamuziki, una lecture mwanasiasa, una lecture kila mtu. Kwani wewe ni Mungu?
Customers wahame waende mahali ingine.
Unatisha nani? Naona watu wengine wanatutisha. Mimi ukiniangalia hivi ni mtu ya kutishwa na watu. Tuheshimiane bwana.
This was a William Ruto government. He knew what he wanted. He has pursued it no matter what. And I would say that I don't expect to see much achievement from Kindiki except serving Ruto very well.
You know, Kindiki is a likable man. He doesn't elicit hatred. You know, it doesn't bring on you know, a feel of it. It doesn't make people feel threatened as communities that he's now sitting on that seat, and therefore now we are afraid that our interest will be diverted a certain way.
It has been interesting to see how he varies from Gachagua as a deputy president since he took office in November 2024.
The political approach of the deputy president current and the former one is like heaven and earth. Ni kama usiku na mchana, because we have seen the former deputy president, his approach is very combative. Very combative in politics, having his way through, pushing things, and sometimes colliding with a lot of people. But on the other hand, I think Professor Kindiki is completely opposite. Very humble, very polite, persuasive. He majors on persuading people.
Deputy anatakana sikize vile program ya Headmaster inafanywa, si vile yeye anataka. Akitaka angoje mpaka wakati atapata shule yake atengeneze. Anaweza peana maoni, na ile maoni anapatia deputy president, deputy Headmaster wakiwa pamoja. So Kindiki hiyo uongozi yake, my friend, ile ni God guided. And whatever he is doing to this country, we must appreciate him from every other corner, because one day, one time, Kindiki will lead this country to Canaan, the Canaan that we desire.
Gachagua ilikuwa combative, sababu kama huku ukimsupport alikuwa na kutukana hata hadharani na anakuwekea mtu kukupinga. Ya Kindiki is more polished. You can see it's being led by a polished person, educated, polished, na mtu wa amani.
At first glance, the story of the tape suggests that there are two distinct people who are dressed differently.
Freedom is here.
Outspoken and often harsh.
Let every Kenyan be prepared to work hard.
Former DP Rigathi Gachagua became widely known for his defense of the Mount Kenya region on national issues.
So there is no cause of alarm.
In sharp contrast to Professor Kindiki's gradual ascent to power, Gachagua's quick ascent from one-term Mathira MP to deputy president is remarkable. As a soft-spoken individual, Professor Kindiki is perceived by many as a yes man who lacks the broad grassroots support that Gachagua claims to have.
Mimi ni mtu nasikianga amri ya wananchi. Mimi ile wanasema yes sir, nasema yes sir hata kwa wananchi. Mumesikia hivyo? Nasema yes sir hata kwa hao viongozi. Nasema yes sir mpaka kwa rais. Unakaa na heshima na watu wote.
This, however, depends on whose perceptions after Gachagua was in record, claiming he will be a yes man should he be elected alongside William Ruto in the 2022 general election.
And practically that is the work of a deputy president, is to say yes. And if you want to remember, by the way, on the 18th of May 2022, at a burial in Kafiroini, the burial of a gentleman who was the brother to Rigathi, it's on record saying that since William Ruto had decided to go with him as the running mate, that he will never create any trouble for the president, and his will be yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. He even told us that he was in uniform, and therefore he's not in new waters. He's used to saying yes sir.
You know, I had some people saying, oh, if William Ruto picks Rigathi Gachagua is very strong. He could have problems like the ones they were having with Uhuru Kenyatta. Such a problem cannot come from a member of this family. I am a man who was in uniform. Mine is yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
You can go to the thesaurus and other forms of dictionary and look for a word for him, but I'm simply saying that he's going to serve his boss very well.
From the outside, however, it was anticipated that Professor Kithure Kindiki will prioritize the provision of government services and will not frequently take front stage in the political sphere, a view that political analysts conceal with confidence.
He needs the support of Mount Kenya, but he cannot, articulate the grievances of Mount Kenya. He cannot articulate the wishes of Mount Kenya, and cannot identify with the agitation and activism of the mountain. And the mountain, even if you remove Gachagua from it, remove Commander from it, remove everybody else who is agitating, the mountain itself, the ordinary people, are on the warpath.
That he was a replacement of somebody who had been elected on a ticket. Did he come with the best? Did he come with some gusto in terms of political mileage and so on? No. So what was his contribution? His contribution was he comes from the same region. Bring him around because this is the person that is a little bit more amenable, more malleable, can work on instructions, and therefore he replaces somebody who was seen as a bit vocal, a bit of his own person.
The high cost of living, corruption and propensity to prioritize politics over meeting the needs of the people have all been problems for the Kenya Kwanza government since it took office in 2022. The government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda BETA, whose primary goal was to improve the lot of Kenyans at the bottom of the economic pyramid, has presented Kindiki with an enormous burden since he became the nation's third deputy president.
And the people are not against William Ruto. The people are not against Professor Kindiki. They are not against Raila Odinga. They are against things that they are promised and are not delivered. They are against what they find themselves in. Poverty. They find in themselves unable to take their children to school. They find themselves unable to go to hospital, staying at home when they are sick and hoping they will be cured by time, and unable to feed their families the way they would want to feed them, or even to contribute to the church the way they would want to contribute to the church. That in itself, the feeling that the government has pushed them to the margins, has pushed them down to poverty, is what is agitating people.
But positively in Mount Kenya now, it has changed the dialogue of Mount Kenya from rhetoric to development. Because we wasted 2 years in Mount Kenya where we didn't sit down even a single day and discuss a load, and discuss a market, and discuss electricity.
Though he is country's second in command, Professor Kindiki has been missing 4 riders who accompany a deputy president like Gachagua.
I don't think Kindiki is defined by what happens around. I don't think it's defined by the cars, how many cars he drives, or what make of a car he drives, or how many riders are there. It's just about there to do is, he's a very interesting man. Even when you go to do those shugulis, he's not defined by the aura of power around him. He's powerful by himself. So I would not be shocked to hear that the riders are somewhere and he just told them no to come.
And just like his predecessor Rigathi Gachagua, Professor Kithure Kindiki has spent more time in his Mount Kenya backyard than any other region in the country.
That is what is called ethical relativism. That something is good or bad depending on who is doing it. If it is Gachagua who is doing it, it is bad. If it is Professor Kindiki who is doing it, it is good, and he's praised for it. It's called double standards, multiple standards. It's just the same way President William Ruto has gone out on an early campaign mission. And as he is campaigning, cutting across the country, left, right, center, north, south, east, west, the self-same time, he's castigating those he says are embarked on early campaigns.
One wasn't expecting to see anything much out of Professor Kindiki. He came as a lightweight. He still remains as a lightweight. He spent his time around Gachagua, trying to undo what Gachagua is doing. The difference is that Gachagua is fairly entrenched politically. So to try and undo him isn't just occasional runs into center and back. So Professor Kindiki will have to think a bit out of the box to be able to build a political mass or to build political relevance, but more importantly, to bring with him the people of Central. Right now, I don't think he has the people.
Many of his tours revolving around the counties of Kiambu and Murang'a, perhaps due to the county's population in the mountain. For instance, in the month of May, Professor Kithure Kindiki toured Kiambu County for the highest number of times, having toured the county 7 times in just 1 month. For the month of May, the second in command toured Murang'a County 3 times.
Naturally, he is a child of Mount Kenya. And because there has also been a narrative that projects in Mount Kenya were abandoned, nothing is happening. He has been able to go out there and monitor so that Kenyans can be able to see in the course of the day the reality between what they are being fed from vehicle rooftops and what really is happening on the ground, because he goes to visit ongoing projects.
You know what happens with Kindiki? Kindiki is this kind of a man who will wake up in Mugirango in the morning, and in the afternoon will be Nyeri, and 2 hours you hear him in Isiolo. So the many times you have had him here, he has been other places same times.
Hata mimi nimetoa milioni 2.
Kindiki is doing exactly what Gachagua did, but now with a more serious and sinister political motive. He's coming to this area with loads and loads of money, bags full of money, to try and entice and change the Mount Kenya region.
Kindiki has been here several times, but I believe even also our problems are more that he is coming to address. And also, every elected leader, where they come, the place they come from, they have a bigger burden. Okay, they should also serve the whole country and all that. But also, your people demand more.
Raia wanaweza kuwa wamekorogwa, walikuwa wamerogwa, walikuwa wanaonyeshwa mambo mbaya. Lakini sasa hivi anafanya, anaunganisha viongozi, na hao viongozi wanatakana waende sasa kwao nyumbani, waunganize pia raia, wasikane Mount Kenya, serikali ya Kenya. Hii ya Kenya kwanza, iwe yote imeungana tuko kitu moja. Mount Kenya hii tunaongelea.
His interaction with the mountain is not just in the 2 counties of Kiambu and Murang'a. In that month of May, he also made several tours in the counties of the mountain, among them Meru, Kirinyaga, Laikipia, Nyandarua, Nyeri and Embu.
Because they are desperate. Ruto is desperate. He thinks that maybe through those visits by Kithure Kindiki that he can get the support of Mount Kenya again. And you know, of course, it's not possible. But we also have issues with these visits by Professor Kindiki because of these, what they are calling empowerment programs. Because they are actually not empowerment programs, it's just politics. Because when you see what they are bringing to our people, I mean, there is nothing tangible. I mean, it's just politics, you know. Come and give people some handouts, and then you say that you have empowered them.
Kindiki has a better and more concrete organization of the mountain than what we had seen with the Rigathi. Because having a hold of the mountain is not just is not insulting other people, is not creating enmity and it's fostering friendships and fostering a better business environment for the people.
That is very unfortunate, I must say, because there is no reason why Kindiki should visit Mount Kenya so many times, even more than what Gachagua was doing, and he's not seen as tribal, just because he's championing a certain cause. But because Gachagua is championing a certain cause, then he is seen as tribal.
It's a matter of ethical relativism, and which starts leading pundits like myself to tell Kenyans, don't take too seriously what His Excellency the President tells you when he says these are early campaigns, that these are tribalists. It becomes a tribalist when it is Rigathi Gachagua, but it's not a tribalist when it is Professor Kithure Kindiki. It is divisiveness when the person behind it is Rigathi Gachagua, but it's not divisiveness. It is bringing the people of the mountain together when it is Kindiki.
However, there has been little about his activities in the county of Tharaka Nithi.
We've been able to disburse monies because there's better environment. I mean, we're able to lobby for our people better. You know, if you look at the things we've been doing, going around to the people, like I was in my constituency some 2-3 weeks ago to help the Mama Mboga and the Boda people and the market people to, to boost them in their circles and everything.
Wasanii wetu na waibaji.
In what is seen as a strategic move to strengthen his influence,
tumehuzunishwa sana.
The deputy president has met dozens of Mount Kenya artists, including popular secular and gospel performers, a move that has since elicited heated standoff within the region.
Ati wameitwa pale Karen juzi na huyu mtu anaitwa Mr. Moneybags. Ati wanaambiwa wakuje wadanganye nyinyi SHA inafanya kazi. SHA inafanya kazi.
My own brother, mimi sijarara. My own brother amekuwa hospitali from February.
Yeah.
Pale Kadira Mission Hospital Mwea. Jana SHA na mimi naongea mbele ya Mungu. Ilinilipia 460,000 for 60. Sasa tunikuulize, mimi nikiulizwa kama SHA inafanya kazi nitasema aje?
Yes, inafanya.
460 ningetoa wapi?
Some of the artists have had to explain their standing politically.
Wazee wameniambia nitangaze hao wasanii waombe msamaha. Wasipoomba msamaha, tuwache kusikiza nyimbo zao.
Na ndona nindimuhiteirie, na ndona mundu wina ũgima ũndũ ũrĩa mwega agĩrĩire gwĩka nĩ gwĩtĩkĩra mahĩtia make na kuga nĩ sorry na hihi gũkaga kũmacokera.
Jensi nĩ njoete moko na igũrũ, ndikwenda kũgeithio ũrĩa mũrangeithĩtie wiki ithatũ thiru, na niĩ kũrĩa tondũ mwĩna mwerekera ithuĩ kwĩ hĩndĩ twarĩ tũmũtarage, no rĩu ithuĩ mũkoretwo mũkĩona tũkĩũra, mũgatwĩra maithe maitũ mũtigũthiĩ ũguo, tuoniei njĩra nĩtũkũrũmĩrĩra. Maũndũ marĩa ndĩmwĩkĩte makamũrakaria nĩ wĩhia wakwa, nĩ wĩhia wakwa, nĩ wĩhia wakwa mũnene. Ndĩrahera.
Yes, that was a plan, but of course it was nipped in the bud by Rigathi Gachagua. They had even started singing when they were in a car, and they had even started, led by Ben Githai, they had started singing two-term. None of them has ever said two-term in any appearance, in any performance that they did since they left Karen. So it's a desperate move. They thought it could bear some fruit, but unfortunately it did not even. It was a stillborn. I mean, it was a stillbirth.
Those guys were just doing what the business is. But now, when Wamonyoro cites the people against the musicians, I mean, for me, I think it was very unfortunate, because why would you tell people not to go to an event where they've been invited to go and work and get paid.
Na wewe kama ni mwenye club ukiita huyo mtu, customers wahame waende mahali ingine.
Ati walikuja kuona deputy president wa Kenya. Hiko makosa gani? Wanamuziki kukuja kulilia serikali ndio haki yao isipotee.
And you see, there's no one musician who took a mic and said, and now we are telling the people now this is the direction to move. They're just doing about, and they have the democratic right to associate with the deputy president, to associate with the government, to associate with whoever it is that they want to associate with. So for me, I would think that was a very irresponsible thing of Gachagua.
Tena ile mtandao, you unfollow them.
Please stop lecturing us. We are not your children. Stop lecturing us. We are not your kids.
We started by calming the minds of Mount Kenya people, singing about issues that affect the people of Mount Kenya, particularly land. And Njoroge Muigai is so good at articulating that. So Kindiki is also tapping into that. I think the success is now limited because there is a scramble now again for the musicians, of the artists of the region.
Mimi my friend, Mungu amenisaidia, na hii siasa ni siasa ya ujinga ambao tunaleta hapa Central Kenya. Siasa ya vitisho, siasa hakuna maendeleo, ni vitisho na kuangaisha watu.
In terms of economic empowerment, the deputy president stated that the government is directing efforts towards key sectors such as agriculture, mining, livestock development, the leather industry and the blue economy. President William Ruto may be compelled to reconsider his 2027 ticket, a development that could significantly affect Deputy President Kindiki's political future.
Unless, a miracle happens, his politics, by the sheer act of accepting to be used by Ruto, then his politics come to an end in 2027. Because I can tell you, Kagwongo, and you can quote me, Ruto will not pick Kindiki as his running mate. That one, you can take that to the bank. He won't.
During the third executive retreat and midterm review held on 20th of June 2025, Deputy President Kindiki appeared noticeably isolated, trailing 2 rows behind President. The head of state, in a symbolic gesture, proceeded to sit beside former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, a move that fueled speculation about shifting political alliances, ostensibly borrowing a leaf from his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta, who was often seen to enjoy Odinga's political company more than that of his own deputy.
Huyu deputy wangu huyu, Professor Kindiki. At least for the first time niko na mtu ambaye anaelewa kazi inaendelea namna gani na anasaidia kusukuma hiyo kazi. Sio mtu panganga tu sijui nini. Hapana, hiyo hapana.
This is a battle of eggs against stones. Yeah, it's a battle of eggs against stones. If Gachagua does his work, he has total control over the region in terms of temperament, the way people perceive Gachagua. Despite all the criticism you hear and that you're going to hear, the popular support, of course, is with Gachagua. And I have said this before, it all depends on how he's going to handle this opportunity. Whether he's going to make bread out of it or is simply going to throw it out. He has the popular appeal at present. Unlike Gachagua, Professor Kindiki is not an elected deputy president. He's a hand-picked deputy president who has come basically to toe the line which is set by his boss, and to the extent that he is towing the line, I think he is succeeding. Beyond what we may want to call, for lack of better expression, playing the card of sycophancy, I don't think there's anything else that I could attribute to him.
I would expect him to retain him, for sanity and political tidiness. But that's purely upon the president to decide. He'll be seeking new mandate, and that mandate has got nothing to do with the previous mandate. But I would expect that he would keep him. I think First, he would be the member of the political class who probably has who has clout, who he can work with, because I mean, in this duration of time, then he will still continue building his clout around the mountain and everywhere.
We are uniting and we are liberating the country.
Pundits say there is a chance that the Kalonzo Musyoka-Rigathi Gachagua alliance will make a concerted effort to undermine his power in the area. Kindiki's power might be weakened by Gachagua's collaboration with prominent figures from the area, among them former CS Justin Muturi, Peter Munya and Mithika Linturi.
No. And I say unequivocally, no. He cannot replace Gachagua for now. I don't know about the future. Maybe I can speak about it later. But for now, no. Why? Because the politics in Mount Kenya are not about what you are achieving. They are about the anger of the people. They are about tapping into grievances. And you must understand what Mount Kenya is about. They stand with the weak, the oppressed, and the one who seems to be a victim.
An increasing belief that Kindiki has not yet led the people on Mount Kenya East to fully support Kenya Kwanza is the root of his challenges. Despite his prominent position in government, critics contend that the area has remained politically unstable amid minimal real progress.
Professor Kindiki will have to think a bit out of the box to be able to build a political mass or to build political relevance, but more importantly, to bring with him the people of Central. Right now, I don't think he has the people.
And the argument was made that the leaders from the region, particularly the UDA, bigwigs, had preferred Kindiki to Gachagua. Now, that argument in a way toned down some of the militancy that you'd have found. I have been in this field for a while.
Despite being removed from the office as deputy president, Gachagua still has devoted following in Mount Kenya, and his partnership with Kalonzo represents a direct challenge to Ruto's hold on the area.
Politics is dynamic. Nobody replaces the other. Everybody fights and creates their own space. Rigathi Gachagua is still having his space in the politics of Mount Kenya. His Excellency Professor Kindiki is also slowly creating his space as the current deputy president within the Mount Kenya political landscape.
The reason why he appointed Gachagua as his deputy was not because he liked him, but because he was the best tool to get him elected. I cannot, say it's over or the deal is done until we approach 2027. And then William Ruto begin to see, is Raila with me or is not? If Raila is not with me, then I need to look for people who I can rely on. And he's going to look for the people he can rely on.
Kindiki has proven to be a trustworthy ally, but if his support within wanes, will Ruto be able to afford to keep him?
If President William Ruto really wants to make a legacy and concentrate with building a legacy, a serious, a solid legacy that will forever remain his legacy in this country, Kithure Kindiki is a man. Because Kithure is this kind of a deputy who will be there for you, who will do what you say to be done, who will burn midnight oil and make sure our government delivers.
Unless now the president, at some point he chooses to drop him, he would also need to come and explain to us what has changed. Yeah, but as also the people around this area where Kindiki comes from have supported the president so much previously, and I believe they are going to support him. So I don't think he has a reason to drop the deputy president.
So if I come to let Kindiki now, I'll put it at 70%.
Of course, there are a lot of considerations and parameters. And the president has said now he has a true principal assistant.
If that is what Ruto would decide, that is up to them. I cannot be able to decide for him, but I'll tell you for sure, the mountain has moved on, with or without Kindiki.
And so what Ruto has done is to finish Kindiki politically. You know, fine, he has earned the title, Your Excellency, and, you know, Deputy President, but he has finished him politically because Kindiki is not an old man.
Following the removal of Rigathi Gachagua from office, political leaders from Mount Kenya have been vying for the regional kingpin. This, as Professor Kindiki's appointment provoked intense discussion about the region's dominance. Interestingly, Kindiki has claimed there is no such a post, ostensibly denying to take over the monarchy of the region. Mike Kagwango, TV 47, Nairobi.